Mike, great to see you, man. And wanted to get your thoughts on this right off the jump, and then we'll get into your season, is how the pitch clock's been for you as a hitter. Obviously, it's also a hitter's clock where you got to be ready to go. And do you think, if you guys are in the playoffs, it should be extended, or are you cool with the way that it's been working?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I think that a little bit more time would be nice. The playoffs certainly, have kind of a different feel to them. I think at bare minimum, I think maybe a little bit more consistency, like stadium to stadium, with the pitch clock. I think because most guys at this point have a pretty good gauge of the amount of time they have and just sort of the pace of the game, and it has been really nice. We played like a 3-hour, 20-minute game in Cincinnati on Sunday, and it was like a day game in Cincinnati in August, September, whatever. So it was brutal, and it was like, this game's really dragging. And that was kind of the norm before. But I think a little bit more consistency, just maybe having somebody that's maybe a little bit more in an official capacity, kind of running the clock, and then maybe just a little bit more grace in certain situations from the umpire. Just a little more feel would be, I think it can help, or I think it only can help some of those big moments in the playoffs.
Feel from the umpire, do you think they need I guess the umpires, I think they have 6 in the postseason. That 7th guy, should he be running the clock, or what are you talking about? Because I don't really know what kind of inconsistencies there are. All I knew was when we were in the bushes together, and the dude was just like, yeah, whatever. Reset the clock. They don't do that now.
Yeah, I mean, they're really pushing the pace in AAA this year. When I was down there, it was even shorter than it is in the big leagues. Trying to just see how much time they can cut off. But I just like sometimes it feels like there's certain places where the ball, like there's a fly ball hit or a ground ball hit, and it's not even an out been recorded yet, and they're already starting that 30-second clock, and it's like, well, I don't have to sprint up to the plate to get ready, or like one thing I noticed is that, like, in the top of the first inning, the pitcher kind of gets as much time as he wants to get ready, get the mound the way he wants, certain things like that. But then the bottom of the first, the guy's on the clock, and it's like, well, that doesn't really seem fair, like to the home team starting pitcher getting an advantage and getting the mound exactly how he wants, but the visiting guy doesn't. The visiting guy doesn't. So, just like little things like that, just to sort of like, because everybody just wants is even a playing, like, you don't want the clock to be a home field advantage, I think.
All right, so I got to give you guys a little bit of a heads up here. Tauchman, when we played together in AAA, tell us who your player comp was when you were out in left field.
Tebow.
Tim Tebow.
That was more of a football thing, though.
You got AJ's attention. The Gators helmet is freaking out right now.
Yeah, I just
on the freaking table.
Yeah, wait, what? Wait, football or baseball? Because it surely wasn't baseball.
Maybe.
It blended at points, but I would like to say my college football player comp, Tim Tebow. Yeah, for sure.
Wait, where'd you go to college?
Oh, I went to Bradley. We didn't have football, but I was considered in high school the Tim Tebow of the northwest suburbs of Chicago.
On the intramural circuit, you were the Tim Tebow of the intramurals.
Well, in high school, he would bowl people over, truck stick everyone.
Yeah. Just one direction. I was just going north.
The story is Tim Tebow was playing for Syracuse at the time. Is that who he was with?
Yeah, that's right.
And he was not doing great. AAA was a little bit tough for him. And Sockman was in a dark place in AAA. He had just come down from the big leagues. He was like, "Oh, I played for the Rockies. I made the big league team, blah, blah, blah." It's big time superstar. And Tebow was out in left field. And so we put Sockman out in left field. And so the player comp, we have a lot of player comp issues in AAA, and his player comp lived out as Tim Tebow.
I should probably thank him because, I was grinding a little bit, and he didn't take the most direct route to a fly ball, and it ended up falling for a hit, and it was my first at bat of a doubleheader. I think I ended up getting like 7 or 8 hits that day, so I was like, Tim kind of got me hot, and I'm grateful.
So he should have been on Swamp Kings.
Dude, Tauchman?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Mike, let's get to this season now. Let's
Wait, hold
fast
on. No,
forward.
before you out your window. What's out your window?
Out my window?
Yeah.
My neighbor's house.
Oh, can you see a flag for me? Which way the wind's blowing?
Are we talking which way it's blowing at Wrigley today?
Yeah.
He wants to know how many dingers you're hitting.
Yeah, I want to know if
against,
you're going deep today
against the Giants. And how is it though? I mean, first off, you're having a great year with the Cubbies. It's been an exciting season for them because there was a time period where like, oh no, this team might sell at the trade deadline. They said screw it, we're going in. So how has it been? And does the word wind mean a lot more to you nowadays?
Yeah. Obviously it's like meaningful baseball late in the season is there's really nothing like it. And I think we have a group that's really, really just such like a team oriented mentality and like a team first sort of like mentality. And it's just a bunch of guys that just love competing, playing baseball, winning games. And I think that one of the strengths of our team is our ability to win games in a lot of different ways. I'd never played at Wrigley. Like I'm born and raised just outside Chicago, and I never played at Wrigley till this year. So that was sort of like, man, if there's one thing I could do still in my career, like I haven't gotten there, that'd be awesome. And I was unaware of just how much that wind can play a factor. And it was like the first 3 weeks that I was there, it blew in every game. And I'm like, there was a game where I was like, man, I'm like 60 feet behind second base here playing center field. And, and then, sort of the weather started to turn, get some days where the wind blows out. And I was like, oh, this is great. Like just got to get this thing up in the air. But, I haven't been at many other places where the wind just determines like, hey, it's either, we're going hard ground balls today, or it's like, yeah, just, do what you can to get this thing in the air.
You wake up now, you're playing every day. You're an everyday guy. You're looking at big arbitration contract, all that life. But yeah, you're already spent your money. I know you already spent your Korea money, but that's not what we're talking about. You wake up in the morning and you look at the weather and to see which way the wind's blowing.
I don't. I'm kind of out in the burbs, so I really don't know. But believe me, when I pull in the parking lot, I look at those flags up there, and it's like, okay, what kind of day are we going to have today? And when we're walking in, it's like, if it's blowing out, I'm walking a lot faster into that clubhouse, and it's like, let's get this game going before it changes, because it'll change. There's been some days where BP it's playing great, and then it comes out, and you're like, what is this? Like, come on,
dude, come on. Listen, I already checked the weather today. It's blowing out 15. I mean, just get one up in the air. That thing will end up 12 rows back in a basket. Maybe hit a beer snake out there. Did you grow up a Cubs or a White Sox fan?
I grew up probably more of a Cubs fan. But
this interview's over.
He said
no.
Probably,
I mean,
it doesn't matter. You can't have one or the other. You're one or the other.
Why?
There's no because that's not how
they both sucked most of the time.
It doesn't matter. You still had to pick one.
Nah.
I think that. I mean, kind of my perception growing up and live is like you choose to be a White Sox fan. A lot of like Cubs fan, it's sort of like the default. So I have a lot of respect for White Sox fans because it's like they chose that life and they're diehards. No, they're diehards. I swear to God, I mean it. Like my buddies that are White Sox fans are diehard White Sox fans, and So I rooted from in 05. I remember.
Okay, that's a good answer. But
I remember the
drop
third strike and all that stuff. But the
song,
song, no.
Are you sick of the song yet?
No.
After the games, because I know when we played the Cubs, that song would come on, and we're like, "This is the worst song in the world."
Yeah, because you're a Cub hater.
Well, true, but that doesn't matter.
No, but it's a long song.
Yes,
I don't know.
And you know the story behind the song, right? Like they wrote it for someone like dying of a disease, and they sold it for charity, and the Cubs adopted it as their song. The Go Cubs Go song when they win.
That's cool.
No, it's cool.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but
yeah,
you never get sick of hearing the winning song. So
yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, that's why I hated it when I played there because it always meant they won. I was like, that fucking song.
Hey, Mike, how different is it? Because now you've played with several organizations on the big league side too, right? So thinking back to like what Kratzy said, your Colorado days, how different was it playing in Colorado, both from like an atmosphere, but also from like an informational standpoint, where then you join the Yankees who are like, yo, we've got it all. There's a billion people working in the front office. Anything you want info wise, we've got it for you. I think the Cubs are set up in a somewhat similar fashion. So how different can it be going org to org?
I'm really grateful of some of the things that I learned with Colorado, because that was kind of still in a time where it's like you had to learning how to watch the game and like see what's happening and like pick things up sort of naturally or instinctually or whatever, like that. I learned how to do that in Colorado, because it's like, what does the starting pitcher have? I don't know. He has 8 warm-up pitches to figure out what he has. So, and then I got to the big leagues and I got to like kind of like, I probably was annoying, but like follow around Charlie Blackmon a little bit and how he prepared and how he would watch video and the things that he would look at and different things like that. And he was such a smart player and such a perceptive player that it's like, hey, I could take some of that and like learn from that. And then it's like an entirely new skill going to a team that is analytically driven, because there's so much information that you have to decide the stuff that you like, or it can be really overwhelming. So, it's like that sort of, you're just always sort of like tinkering or filtering or trying to, like, this is what I like to have. This is what I like to know. And that changes as you get older too, because you just sort of become more comfortable with certain things, or you realize different things about yourself, or, whatever it is. So, I think that like being in Colorado, you had to be so engaged, like coming up through the minor leagues. It was like, go get them. It was pretty old school. Go get them and figure it out. And you're going to play, and you just play and figure it. And, you learn that way.
So which of those skills did you implement the most when you went to Korea, and which ones made you most successful over there?
It's probably more of just watching the game. I mean, there's 9 other teams. There's 10 teams in the league, so there's 9 other teams. So it's like, by August, it's like, oh, hey, who are we facing? This guy, we'll face him 6 times already. So if you don't know what he has at this point, like, you're not paying attention. So I think that just seeing like, okay, like this is how they seem to be. This is how like we are pitching the import players. This is how, the different teams stylistically play and pitch, and this is what this guy's going to do to me because this is what he has confidence in, or this is his, mindset with certain things. It's, it took probably close to half a year to make some of that adjustment, because, it's still baseball, but just there are some differences in mentality that kind of show through in the style of play.
Mike, has that helped you when you came back? Because most of the time you've been hitting leadoff for the Cubs, and David Ross, when I've talked to him, said you're one of the main reasons that kind of ignited where they were to where you guys are now in the playoff spot. So has that helped you? And how do you do that if you're hitting leadoff when you haven't seen a guy? Say you're facing a guy tonight you've never seen in Walker, and you go up there to hit, and you're like, well, I've never seen this guy but on video. How do you make that adjustment that quick? If you say you like to watch the guy, in Wrigley, you definitely can't watch him because there ain't no bullpen to see.
Yeah. I think, obviously, our hitting coach staff does such a great job with the advanced work. And, that's kind of what I was referencing earlier. I had to learn about the stuff that I like. And, I'm a big believer in, when I've been good in my career, I've been on fastball timing right down the middle. And, I think adjustments are made off that. But I think if you're late on the fastball, mechanics break down, approach breaks down, vision breaks down, and you're kind of just fighting uphill. So it's like, if I could just have one thing, it's like, how hard does he throw? How, like, because it's like, you've seen, like, whatever the number is, you've seen that number, you've faced that number, and then it's like, okay, with that number from this arm slot. Well, now you kind of know what that looks like because you've seen it. And that's why, these guys like, and I mean, they're other world talents, but like, it didn't ever look like Albert Pujols or Miguel Cabrera got that fooled. They have 12,000 at bats. So it's like, there's nothing they haven't seen. So it's like, I think that's such like an under talked about part of success for guys. It's like their catalog is so big.
And I'm sure some of that was learned, with your times in the minors and with Mr. Kratz there, who's above you on the screen. So give us something good to finish up here on Kratz / your Yankee days, minors, and then of course the big 2019 that you had. Are you surprised to see everyone where they're at now, including Kratz running America's hottest baseball show?
Oh yeah, I mean, I tune into the clips all the time. I got them coming up on Instagram and stuff. The thing about Kratz that I always enjoyed, which was really funny, because we had Brett Gardner too, and he was an older player as well when I was with him, and it was like him and Kratz would like talk about these guys in like AA. They'd be like, "You remember this guy? You remember this guy?" And we're all like, that was like 2006, man. Like I don't remember anybody in the Florida State League in 2006. Like, that guy could really hit. It's like, but that's like the cool thing is like, you run across all these names and all these like different things. And it was like, I was in Iowa a little bit earlier this year and there's guys there that like, they know all the players on all the teams and all the organizations and the minor league guys and where they went to college and what they hit. And it's like, I used to be like that too, and it's like the cool thing. And like Kratz can obviously speak to this, and AJ, you can speak to this too. When you're around so long, there's so many names, and it's like, there are little things you forget, like certain guys, but then you hear it, it's like, oh yeah, like I remember that guy. Like that guy was a hell of a player. That guy did this, or I saw him do this. And it's like, the community is big, but it's like so small at the same time, sort of. And it's just, it's cool when you start getting into like the later parts of your career, remembering certain things about certain guys, and it's fun that way.
And Kratz, that's where you found your true talent, which is Immaculate Grid, right?
But that's why I get screwed up on Immaculate Grid, because me and Brett Gardner are talking about like Brent Abernathy and Single A for
Brent Abernathy was my roommate.
Did he ever make it? It's like, oh no, he didn't make it, and you just bring up random names. But speaking of random, Talk, you look incredibly beautiful with a beard. So I just want to make sure that when you reach free agency in 3 years, that you don't sign back with the Yankees, because you are not Immaculate Grid. You are immaculately handsome.
Yeah, don't let
them I trimmed it today just for you. I woke up and I had a bunch of dog hair in it, and it was looking a little scraggly. So I trimmed it up just for you.
That's what I was going to see. Are the dogs doing good?
Dog's good. He's thriving. He does what he wants. He doesn't listen to anybody, and he sleeps all day. So just living the dream.
He's not mad at you for going to Korea and leaving him behind?
No, because the people that watch him when we were in Korea also let him do whatever he wants to do whenever he wants to. There's no rules. There's no rules at my parents' house, and there's very few rules at my wife's parents' house. So
they used to give him his spa day and then put a pink bow on his boy dog, and he hated it, and I loved every second of it.
Yeah, they dress him up and make him look all pretty, and it's like, he's a man, give him like a tie or something.
I love it. Well, now he gets to enjoy the Chicago summer. Same with you, dude. Keep crushing it out there. Enjoy. Get that ball in the air tonight. We'll be watching,
dude. Tonight, get one up in that 20-mile-an-hour breeze.
We'll be watching, dude. Great to catch up with you.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Cheers, Mike Tauchman of the Chicago Cubs.